usually referring to like additional decision that you need to make in a NPV question. Because usually NPV questions, the only decision you need to make is you calculate the NPV, you accept or reject. Correct? That's what we have been doing. But under this chapter, we have some additional information. Sometimes it's even before we get the NPV, we need to decide something first. Or after we have the NPV, but we have few projects, we have some additional decision need to make. That's the reason why we find out all the additional potential decisions need to make, and then we put that in this chapter. Basically, we have 3 parts here for today. Okay, like usual, I will give you a quick. Also important. It's a guarantee to come out subject. Okay, so your final, please practice as much as possible for MPV. All right, so we go to that one by one. Yes, for the specific investment decision, the first additional decision that it could be needed, we call it capital rationing. All right, capital rationing, as you can see, it means that it's in a case that we have limited capital, but we have many good projects. You have limited money, but many good projects, you cannot invest all of them. So that's why you need to make a decisions on what is the best combination. Like project 1 and 2 is the best, or project 2 and 4. Project 2 and project 4, they are the best. Okay, so we need to find the best combination to invest to give us the highest combined NPV. So in here, I think I can use back the. Okay, not chapter 12, chapter 12, correct. Capital rationing is something like you have capital 1,000 ringgit. Okay, now you have 4 projects A, B, C, D. As you can see, this is the initial investment. If you want to invest, you need to pay. And obviously, your 1,000, you will not be able to invest all of them. Is that if you are talking about project A, you only can invest in project A, then you will finish your funds already or your capital. So in these situations, we need to decide. So how to spend our 1,000, okay? I mean, in the most perfect way to maximize our NPV. So in this case, we need to understand there are 2 possibilities. It is either all the projects that are divisible. See this word, divisible. Can be shared. It can be separated, divisible. Okay, it is divisible. It means that, like for example, if the project is divisible, like we talk about project A, in this project A case, you can say that initial investment, you need to invest 1,000, but you can say that I only want to invest 500. Okay, it can be done like that way, because the idea behind is something like, so this project actually I can share with another company. I take 50%, you take 50%. So at the end, the benefits, the NPV, I will get 50 ringgit another company get 50 ringgit because we share the project. This is what we call divisible. Simple, from the name itself, it tells. Okay, it can be separated one. While if the projects are indivisible, it means that this project cannot be shared one. It's either you take it or you leave it. It means that you cannot tell me this 1,000, I want to invest only 500, no such thing. The project is indivisible, cannot be separated one. Can understand? So if you understand that, then we come back to the first scenario. If let's say in the question telling you that all the projects are divisible, if all the projects are divisible, then you have 1,000, you need to know which is the best project is that to invest. Very simple. If they are divisible, we follow profitability index. Right, PI. The formula very simple. We use the present value of all the cash inflow divided by the initial cash outflow. Like 1100 divided by 1,000, we get 1.1. Or 580 divided by 500, we get 1.16, and so on. all right, and then we rank them accordingly. The higher the better, because profitability index basically is to, because if you understand maths, you will see like it's like from 1,000 you get back, you spend 1,000 you get back 1,000 you get back lor. Okay, so the higher the better it means it's more profitable in terms of percentage. So we rank them using the PI. Okay, once we have done that, very simple. Your 1,000 we invest according to the PI ranking. So the best one is project B so we invest project B lor. All right, I will take the whole project B 500. I invest the whole project B you see okay, so I can get 80 lor. All right, because I have 1,000 I invest 500 and then I get 80 first, the NPV. Plus, I still have 500. And then the second, okay, the second highest, the second highest profitability index is going to be project A. So I will invest 500 in here. So it can be done like this way because it is divisible So if I invest 500, then I get berapa? I get 50 lor. Be 130. So the decision is, if they are divisible, I will invest in project B and 50% of A, okay, to use up my 1,000 ringgit. And I can tell you, this is going to be the best combination that can give you the highest NPV. Like what I told you all in the lecture class is still applied, okay? If any one of you right now, okay, if you don't agree, provided they are divisible, any one of you, I give you 1-2 minutes. If you can find any other combination, macam boleh. You want to invest 250 here, 250 here, each of them invest A, B, C, D. Each invest 250. Can you have 1,000? It's up to you. Then you try to add how much proportionally you can get. If you can find a combination is higher than this one, I add 5 marks for your coursework. You can have your own combination. You can say that I want B and D. Can you have 1,000 you invest B 500, D 500, can no problem. But you only get 80 plus 35 is 115. It's lower than this one. If you can find one combination higher than this combination, then I will add 5 marks for you. Okay, I give you 1 or 2 minutes to look on that. I think none of you are able to find another combination okay. So it is proven that this way is correct So as long as if they are divisible, we will follow profitability index. Actually, I can tell why. It's very simple. Because if the project is divisible, then it means that the whatever amount you are having, okay, the capital you are having, you will be able to use all of them for sure. Is that because 1,000 they are divisible, you can take 10%, any remaining you will fully utilize that to invest. Okay, in such a case, then definitely we will go for is that because I will look at if I can finish all my funds the first project I am looking for will be the one that can give me the most money. I invest first. Okay, in terms of percentage lah, most profitable one, I will invest accordingly to that. Okay, so it will give me the highest NPV. All right. While another case will be if all the projects are indivisible. Like what I said, indivisible, can you have this combination? You can't. Because they are indivisible, you cannot tell me I want to invest 50% of A. No such thing. It's either you take all or you don't invest. That's all. All right. So if all the projects are indivisible, the way will be we need to list out all the possible combinations. Which means you have 1,000, so you need to list out. So 1,000, what can I do? I can invest in A only, okay, because A is 1,000. I can invest in A. I can invest in B and C. C and D also can, or B and D also can. I think that's all. Only 4 combinations. So after that, we just add the NPV. If I invest in A only, because 1,000 already, I can get 100. B plus C, 110. And see, C plus D is 65 only. And B plus D will be 115. So from there, we will know, or it seems like B plus D is the best one. So we will invest B plus D. If the projects are indivisible, this one definitely is the best already because we have already listed out all the combination. And you can see the result difference from divisible. The reason very simple, because in indivisible, sometimes we cannot find things. We don't really need to follow PI anymore. Okay, because I know that PI is the most profitable, but the problem is I cannot follow this rule in here. Is that I should invest in A, the second highest PI one. But the problem is I invest in B, already 500, and A need 1,000, and it is not divisible. So I cannot follow PI anymore. So if the projects are indivisible, remember, the way will be we list out all the combinations, and then we add the NPV together, see which one is the highest. If they are divisible, we follow PI. All right? No worry, this one. Later, I will let you all try that on the spot. So you remember this way first. Okay. This is the first one, okay, what we call the capital rationing. When you have limited capital, but you lease versus borrow to buy, or to buy. This one is usually is in a paragraph one. What we have been doing is always buy. If you remember your NPV, we always say that, or if you want to do this project, you need to buy a machine immediately. So year 0 cash outflow for the machine, and then year end scrap value, and then plus all the capital allowances. Okay, that's what we have been doing. It's just that there will be one more possibility that the question will tell you is an option. It's either you can buy the machine, maybe for 4 years like a project. You buy the machine for 4 years. You need to pay 100,000 to buy the machine. At the end, you can sell for 10,000 scrap value, and then the capital allowance, how many percent, all these things. All right, what we have been doing. But the question could also tell you, all right, you have another option. Because actually, why do you need to buy the machine? Is because you need to use that for 4 years for your project. In order to achieve that, you have another option. One, you can lease the machine. Lease, it means you can rent the machine for 4 years also. It achieves the same purpose. So leasing one, then you will have the leasing cash flow. They will tell you, okay, if you lease, so 1 year 30,000, you need to pay for 4 years at the end of every year, something like that. So you have another cash flow. If you were to lease the machine. Okay, so your job very simple actually. At a higher level paper, it's quite common for you to see that. If you see this kind of thing, trust me. Actually, it's very simple one. It means that you just need to do one additional decision. you compare the NPV for both of them. So you need to do additional working to show that, or if I buy this one is the cash flow, and then the capital allowance, okay, and then I convert everything to NPV, see what is the cost, okay, at NPV. While if for leasing, then you create another table. Then if leasings, we also have tax benefits one, because you need to remember one thing, okay, we are considering after tax cash flows usually. So if you buy, you have depreciation, then depreciation will lead to capital allowance, the tax savings from capital allowance. All right. If you are leasing, you go to rent, you pay the rental payment. The rental payment is also an expense, it's tax deductible one. So which means that if you also affect your taxation, as long as actually if the things, if the item is actually an expenses, okay, then it is tax deductible, because if you lead to lower tax, so remember leasing, you also need to consider the tax benefits. Then we compare, see which NPV is lower than that one is better one. Okay, very simple. It's not hard, this one. Okay, and then the hardest one is this one, asset replacement cycle. Calculate the equivalent annual cost. Okay, this one that I only share is asset replacement. Okay, let's say 4 years project. Okay, but the question, like what I said, is always additional decision to be made. The question give you an option telling you that you can replace, maybe it's a machine. Okay, we assume that if you want to do this 4 years project, you need to have a machine not used for 4 years. But the problem is, usually the question is you buy the machine and then 4 years later you sell, that's all, finish. Okay, but now maybe the question will be telling you that you can replace the machine every 2 years, okay, or every 4 years lah. Every 4 years actually, it means that you buy and then so this one is the normal one. This one is what we have been doing. Actually, we don't even replace lah. You can think like it's buy one time only lah. Buy machine for 4 years. You can also think like that. Buy machine for 4 years. This is what we have been doing. Project 4 years project So I need the machine for 4 years. I buy the machine, pay scrap value. Pay the cost for that, and then at the end I sell for scrap value. Okay, but sometimes the question will give you one more choice. It will be telling you that actually you can replace the machine every 2 years one. So why do you want you may be asking why do I need to replace every 2 years like very stupid, I need to pay additional. Every 2 years I buy one new machine. It's like very stupid. But the point is, if you replace every 2 years, advantage will be maybe the running cost or the maintenance cost will be cheaper, because the machine is still new. You don't need to maintain that a lot. Every 2 years compared to 4 years. And this is the advantage for that. You can save some cost. Your maintenance cost, it will not be very expensive. Compared to if you use for 4 years, maybe the third and fourth years, you need to pay a lot of maintenance fees. Okay, of course, disadvantage is you need to buy the machine for 2 times. Okay, because 2 years later, you sell the old machine and you replace with a new one. So, if 2 years cycles, it's like that. I just give you the basic ideas first. Calculation later, we will see in the question. Actually, also 4 years one, but this one is replaced. So I will give you another cycle here. So also 2 years actually. Sorry, also 4 years. It's just that this one I will replace. One cycle is 2 years, and then I buy a new one and use for another cycle. So total 4 years. All right. So I can tell the questions actually, if you give you many cash flow, definitely they will tell you that, okay, if you follow 4 years one, the purchase price is the same, maybe 100,000. If you buy the new machine, 100,000. Okay, and then they will tell you running cost for the first year cheaper 10,000 Second year 20,000 already Third year 30,000, and then 40,000. Running cost or maintenance cost usually when the machine is getting older, you need to pay more. Make sense, right? Okay. And then at the end, if you do like that, this one is all cost. Maintenance cost something like that. So at the end, you can sell for how much? You can sell for maybe 20,000. Scrap value 20,000. Okay, this is time and then used for the whole project lifetime. Okay, and another one will be, if I recycle every 2 years, it will be minus 100,000, minus 10,000, and then they will tell you here you also need to pay 20,000 you use for 2 years, correct? But when you will sell the machine every 2 years, it means that when you sell, maybe the scrap value is higher one, maybe it's 50,000 here. Okay, once you have done that, then it's one cycle, then you will continue another cycle, which means that here you will continue another cycle. You will buy the same machine again and then recycle that. So it's a new machine. So 1 year you only pay 10,000. It's no longer 30,000 because it's a new machine right now. You sell the old machine and then to replace with a new one. And then this one is another cycle, minus 20K. And then you sell for also 50,000 cash inflow. So now, of course, the question will be asking which one is better? 2 years cycle is better or 4 years cycle is better? All right. In order to find that out, first thing, in asset replacement, we do not calculate the NPV usually. Actually, you can compare by using the NPV. You have all the cash flow in all timings, 4 years and 4 years. We can actually convert to NPV and then see which one is cheaper one. You can do that one actually, but usually we don't like to do that. It's not saying that cannot, it's a correct way to do so. It's just that if we do that, many cash flow we need to include, and sometimes you see the maintenance cost, all these things are very complicated. So instead of using NPV, we will use this one, equivalent annual cost. We call that EAC. Okay. Only. Regardless how many years, actually you no need to calculate the behind one. We just need to know one cycle you do. So this one cycle is 2 years. We just need to look at the cash flow of these 2 years. So the way will be, we convert all of this one to a present value, NPV. You can call it NPV. It's just that it's easier because I only consider one cycle. If the project is like 10 years also, never mind one. I just calculate for this few only. So it's easier. I calculate the net present value and I change that to PMT. Is what we call EAC. It means that later on, I will convert everything, all the cash flow to one NPV first. And then I use annuity table to change that to PMT. The PMT actually is the EAC, which happen at the end of every year. If you recycle again, because a new cycle, if you do the same things, it's the same EAC. So that's the reason why we don't need to calculate same one, the figure. Same applies to this one. This one also. We convert all the cash flow to a present value 4 year cycle. Then we convert everything to EAC, equivalent annual cost. Then at the end, we compare this one. See which annual cost is lower. Okay, this is for asset replacement. Maybe now you're a little bit blur on this asset replacement. No worry. later we have one example, okay, to show you. All right, so that's all for the revision. I give you maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, if you have any question, you can ask me. And then the group can get ready to present question 1. Okay, any question? If you have any, can ask. Okay, if you do not have any question, then I think the group can present question 1 right now.
Hello sir, can you see my screen? Uh, Hello sir, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
So for question 1, project 1, this is an investment in new machinery to produce a recently developed product. Um, the cost of machinery, which is payable immediately, is $1.5 million, and the scrap value of the machinery at the end of 4 years is expected to be $100,000. Capital CA can be claimed on this investment on a 25% reducing balance basis, and these are the information for future cash flows. The selling price must be adjusted for 4% per year, and the variable cost also must be adjusted for 2.5% per year. Fixed cost is already been adjusted, and Redacco pays a profit of 30% per year, one area in areas. So we will, if although they give a before tax weighted average cost, but for NPV we will use the after tax weighted WACC, which is 7%.
Okay, very good. Okay, actually, I wanted to ask you these questions one. Okay, I asked in all the 2 classes, in the 2 previous classes. Okay, but you have already mentioned that very good. Okay, if you all remember, I think last 2 weeks we have learned on this consistency. You see, this one is a very common thing to be tested in the final exams. I need to tell you all that it could be in your coming final exam also. Remember what I told you all? If you are using, like for example, your cash flows, they are after tax nominal cash flows. Make sure you discounted by after tax, before tax real cash flow, and discounted by before tax real rate. So that's why Nabil actually has already mentioned some things very important. For project A first, for project A first. Why project A you use 7%, not 12%? Because as you read, all of you can see my that. The other information that there are 2 rates, the question give you 2 rates, after tax and before tax. Why do you use 7% but not 12%? Because question 1, it has the taxations, it has the capital allowances. So for sure, you need to consider that. It means that after you have considered the taxation and the capital allowances, the tax savings, then your cash flow will be after tax cash flow. So when you come to pick the discount rate, definitely it's after tax discount rate. You cannot use before tax discount rate because your cash flow is already after tax, okay, in the calculation. All right, Nabil, very good. You may continue. Thank you.
So for question 1A, calculate the next present value for of project 1 and comment on whether this project is financially acceptable to RAC G3. Um, this is the MPV. So the question mentioned that the selling price must be adjusted for 4%. So every year we must increase by 4% to get the sales by times the demand. And then
Hey, hold on, Nabil. Sorry, every year increase by 4%, but the number is dropping one. I think something's wrong. Is that 26 and then okay? Or I think you type it wrongly. 25 become 20. Why become 24 one? Hold on, I double check my answer also. Something's wrong there. Okay, it should be increasing lah. Or actually correct because they're having different selling
yeah,
price.
selling price, different selling
Oh,
price. First year
okay.
is
Sorry. I cannot recall already. Selling price.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I did not notice that in the previous two classes also. Okay, you may continue. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah. Um, so also variable operating costs we must adjust for 2.5% every year, and then we times the demand units to get the total operating costs. So for the capital allowance, the question mentioned the cost of investment is 1.5 million. So we on the reducing basis of 35%. So 4 years, we will get these figures. And to get the tax benefit, we will times 30% on each capital allowance. So we will get this calculation to arrive net cash flow, and then we all we times with the taxation, but we pay 1 year later, so it will start in year 2 and year 3 and until year 5. For the capital allowance benefit, we also put in year 2, starting from year 2. While after that, we also put the scrap value and we get the net cash flows after tax. So after adjusting for discount factor, we get all the present values and we sum up to get this figure. And then lastly, to get the NPV, we take this figure and we minus 1.5 million. So we get the answer, which is almost correct, as almost the same as Sir's answer. 16 should be 1615, but because of discount factor we get 16146,974.99 cents.
Okay, very good. Okay, nothing wrong on that. Everything is correct there. Okay, and I think nothing that when you're in areas. And like what I said, usually the tax savings also started from year 2 onwards for the machine one. Okay, whatever machine you purchase for the project. Right. So now I just want to ask you, Nabil, a very simple question. So all the cash flows that you are using right now, okay, they are nominal or real cash flow. All the cash flows
Nominal,
here,
nominal cash.
nominal. Very good. Why? Why do you know that it's nominal?
Because this is a prediction, right?
Sorry, this is the
This cash flow is all prediction based on the
okay. Real
management's.
cash flow or nominal, they are also predictions actually. As long as we are doing like NPV calculations, all the cash flows, regardless we are using real cash flow or nominal cash flow, they are all future cash flows. So it's not the answer. Anyone can tell me why do we know that all these cash flows that are nominal cash flows? From where do we know that? Okay, open to the group. Okay, let's see anyone can. This is also very important. Okay, because like what I said, consistency very important. That's why all this small little thing, I think in terms of calculation, all of you can calculate one with the answer. You understand how to calculate. I mean, after I give you all the formal answer. But there will be some things that you need to be careful. Anyone can tell me why do I know that there are nominal cash flows? Actually, very simple, the answer. Yeah, I wait for 1 minute now, okay? Let's see whether you all can answer me this question or not. No. Different inflation rate on the selling price. Okay, Junming saying something's related to that. Okay. Actually it's correct, okay, but the more precise answer is because you see the cash flows you are using, all these cash flow like what Junming mentioned there, the sales the sales is it has I mean the sales figures are the cash from sales are them have them already included the inflation? Definitely is yes, my that because like just now Nabil has shown us we times with the inflation one. Okay, so cash flow. So which means that in here, everything we are using, there are nominal cash flows. That's why when we discount by the 7%, if you read the question, the 7%, the full name is what? Is nominal after tax rate. So is it consistent? It is consistent because in this question, you can see, I mean the answer here, we are using nominal cash flow and they are all after tax. So it's after tax nominal cash flow discounted by after tax nominal rate 7%. So it's correct one. Okay, so remember this one is talking about consistency. You must make sure that it is consistent. Okay, Nabil, we can continue. Thank you. For project 2.
For project 2, Redapco plans to replace an existing machine and must choose between two machines. Machine 1 has an initial cost of $200,000 and will have a scrap value of $25,000 after 4 years, while machine 2 has an initial cost of $225,000 and will have a scrap value of $50,000 after 3 years. And these are the annual maintenance costs of the two machines. However, for this project, taxation and capital allowance must be ignored, so we have to use before tax WACC of 12%. So question 1B asks us to calculate the equivalent annual cost of machine 1 and machine 2 and discuss which machine should be purchased. For machine 1, this is the calculation where we arrive to the net cash flows and we adjust for the discount factor of 12%, and then we take this present values, sum of present values, and we divide it by all the sum of this discount factor. Sorry. Yeah. To get the equivalent annual cost of 90,400.65. While machine 2, we only replace it for every 3 years, so we only calculate until year 3, and after putting all the cash flows, we get to the net cash flows, and we adjust for 12%, and we take the sum of all PV and we divide it by the sum of the discount factor, which is 2.4018%, to get 98,485.51. So the decision rule is where the asset with the lower EAC is cheaper and preferred. Thus, since the EAC for machine 1 is cheaper, then RAC Co must choose machine 1.
Okay, very good. It's correct. So now I want this one is one of the examples of just now what I said, the asset replacement. So in these questions, the question is telling you now we are using machine So we have two choices. It's either we replace every 3 years or we replace that every 4 years. All right. Can you minimize your screen, Anabi? You just minimize that to let all the students we will be able to see the two project. Okay. I think it's quite hard for you to see but it's good. Okay, thank you. Okay, because I just want to show you all the whole picture for this question. So as you can see, we have two every 4 years or replace that every 3 years. And if every 4 years, as you can see the cash flow, the question has given us the cash flow. If you replace that every 4 years, year 0, as usual, you pay for the machine cost. You pay 200,000, and then every year you can see the maintenance cost because you need to maintain the machine. It's definitely increasing one because when it gets older, you need to pay more. And then at the end of year 4, you will sell the machine for 25,000, okay, as a scrap value. Can understand now, okay? Well, if you do that for every 3 years, then it will be 225,000, okay? Then after that will be a maintenance cost, different maintenance cost, and you can sell that 50,000 year 3. Okay, can you all see that? So in this case, first thing we have done is we calculate the NPV, as you can see. For project, for the machine 1 and machine 2. We calculate the NPV first. So the NPV for is actually 274573. Can see the figures. That one is the NPV. For if we replace that every 4 years for the machine for 4 years, used for 4 years, NPV 274,573. While if we replace every 3 years, we calculate the NPV is 236,542. All right. If you just look at the NPV, which one is better? Which is a lower cost one? Because this one is talking about you need use the machine is a cost. If you look at that, definitely you will say that, hey, machine 2 is better, machine 2 is cheaper, you see? Because machine 2 is only 236,000, machine 1 is 274,000. But the problem is, can you say so? You can't, okay? Because it's not a fair comparison. You cannot say that you replace three years, NPV is lower than you go for that, but that one you can only use for 3 years. While machine 1, you can use for 4 years, So that's why we cannot just compare like that directly. One cycle calculate one machine you use for 3 years, one machine you use for 4 years. How could you just, convert everything to an NPV and compare directly? We cannot do that. That's the reason why usually in asset replacement question, we don't compare NPV one. It's not saying that we can't. Actually, we can compare. But in this case, if you want to compare, you must make sure NPV is fair comparison, which means, like for example, you can do 12 years, okay? Because you see, you can recycle that for machine 1, 12 years, will be 3 cycles. While machine 2, you do that for 12 years also, 4 cycles, then fair comparison. But if you are doing like that, you go crazy already. You see, you need to match the timing, all these things, okay? Make sure it's same timing, 12 years and 12 years, then you only can compare NPV. So we don't do stupid thing one. We can do like that, but it's too lengthy, okay? Too tedious. So we don't do that. Okay, another way, very simple one, is like what I said, EAC. So what is change the NPV for one cycle to NPV is already a presence value and then from this presence value we use table A4, okay, or the formula annuity formula, we convert this NPV back to annual payment. Then it's also a fair comparison because now I'm not talking about the total, I'm talking about every year. What is the cost? Then it is a fair comparison. Then we just compare the cost for every year. Like in this case, you can see that machine 1, the annual cost I think is 90,000 something. Machine 2, 98,000 something. So actually machine 1 is better. Okay, I think I will take over your screen for a while, Nabil, just to show them. What do I mean here? Okay, if you all remember table A4 formula, annuity table, the form T times PVIFA. Remember this formula? All right. So like in this case, the answer, okay. All right. Like just now what I said, machine, where is the machine? Like this one. Machine 1 now, okay. The NPV 4 years is 274582. So actually this 274582 is the presence value NPV of that machine if you use for 4 years. So we can put that, this one is 274582. So we put 274582. Okay, equal to payment. Actually, this payment is the EAC already, is the equivalent annual cost times PVIFA. Do we have that figure? The answer is yes. We can use the discount table. Okay, table A4, annuity that one is before tax because this question ignore taxation. Just now Nabil has already explained. So we use 12%. 4 years 12% is this one, 3.0373. Can understand this formula? N equal to 4 years, I equal to 12. Or like Nabi way also can. Nabi way is adding up all the discount factor. Actually, it's the same one. Okay, you can use that way. It's the same. Okay, is it 733? Just now it's like I saw one 3.0373. 373. $3.0373. Okay, so that's why the PMT, or what we call the equivalent annual cost, it will be this figure divided by 3.0373. That's the reason you ask me. This is actually, you have 4 years project. Okay, all the cash flow I convert to a presence value is 274. After I have the presence value, I spread it out again to annual cost. So it's every year, if you use this 4-year cycle, every year you pay this amount. Same applies to 3 years cycle. We also convert that to NPV, but 3 years cycle we use 3 years annuity. It's not this figure. It's the N we use 3. Then we also spread to annual payment. That one is 98,000 every year. So from there we know this one is better because in terms of every year, fair comparison, machine 1 is better, is cheaper. Okay, I hope you get the idea behind this EAC. Okay, then now I stop presenting. I let Nabil to continue for, I think we still have one theory question, simple theory question. Or Nabil, I think I just expand, I present on behalf because actually the third questions I have already explained that last week, so I just do it quickly for all of you. All right. So the C actually just asking us, you discuss the use of sensitivity analysis and probability analysis as ways of including risks, okay, in the investment appraisal process, referring in your answer to the relative effectiveness of each method. All right, if you remember last week we have discussed that. Sensitivity analysis actually is a method that we test which variable is most sensitive. It means that a little bit change in this variable, if you lead to a large change in your NPV one, then that one is very sensitive. The lower the percentage, the more sensitive it is. If you remember last week. Okay, so this is sensitivity analysis. And last week, remember this one, sensitivity analysis. The lower the percentage, it means that a small change if you lead your NPV to zero. Is that? But we need to understand one thing. Okay, the function of sensitivity analysis is not incorporating the risk into the NPV. It means it simply means sensitivity analysis. It does not change your NPV one. Whatever you have calculated is whatever you have calculated. It is just that now we perform one sensitivity analysis to see which item is most sensitive. That's all. So we do not change the formula, or we do not do anything in the original calculation one. It's still the same calculation. But this method is useful because we will know that which item is the most sensitive. Then when we come to implementations, then we need to monitor that closely. That's the function of sensitivity analysis. While probability analysis, most likely to happen, so NPV is 500. Instead of doing that, we will also include all the probabilities in this project. Like we assume that easy one will be like, we assume that the market is very good, then we have 20% chance market is very good, we will get 1,000 ringgit. If market is normal, most likely to happen 60% chance, then we will get 500 NPV. If bear market is very bad one, 20% chance will happen, we only get 100 NPV. So we will average out them. This one times this one plus this one times this one. Okay, at the end we will get what we call an expected NPV or an average NPV, 520. This is what we call probability analysis. We consider all the probabilities in the future that could happen. Market good, market bad, or any other scenarios. You can consider all of them. So that's why this method, you can say that it is better, okay, rather than 500 and then all the cash flow is based on most likely to happen 500, then 60% will happen. So NPV 500 most likely to happen. But if you want to do that better, you can consider all the possibilities. And if you give you see the answer is different one. It changed your NPV to another NPV, average NPV from all the probabilities. Okay, so this method, you can say that it's a method that incorporates the risk into the NPV by considering all the possibilities and its probability for each of them. Okay, so back to the question. The question is asking you discuss the use of all the tools, so you all can discuss from the lecture notes. Okay, but here it says a very important thing is including the risk in the investment appraisal process. NPV calculation if you are talking about that, probability analysis is more suitable, because probability analysis is really including the risk. You can see in our calculation we average out everything, all the possibilities and probabilities we list out, and then from there we average out the NPV from all of them. So this process is what we call you include the risk in the investment appraisal process. While sensitivity analysis, this one, the function is different. It does not include the risk in the investment appraisal process. It is just telling you that it's still the same investment appraisal process, same NPV. It's just telling you which one is most sensitive. You need to be careful on which items. So that's the main difference when it comes to this answer. All right. So for B, sorry, for question 2, is a capital rationing question. You have limited 800,000. Project, you need to calculate NPV. But NPV is very simple, so I don't think I want you all to calculate. So now what I want you all to do, I will give you all 10 to 15 minutes, okay? I want all of you to do this. If you do not know how to start one, you refer back to this one. I give you some time. Okay, if the project are divisible, then this one is the way. If the project are indivisible, and this one is the way. Maybe you can screenshot or you can take a picture first. You can screenshot or take a picture, because later you can refer to this one. It's the same one. It's the same with the question later. But I want you all to practice yourself. What I say, keep on talking also useless one. It's better for those haven't tried one, please. If you have already done that, well done, very good. Okay. To that question to see whether you can get the answer. Okay. So same applies to here. So now you have 800,000. Okay, you have 800,000 and you have 3 projects. I have already typed all the initial cost needed, present value of all cash inflow and NPV for all of them. Okay. Now what you need to do, this is the answer. If let's say the 3 project is divisible, then what will be the result? What project you want to invest? If they are indivisible, because here saying that none of the project is divisible, so it means that the second is indivisible, then what will be the projects you want to invest? This one is, because usually in this question is not only the NPV, I can tell this one is the highest NPV, the answer I have given you, but you need to tell me how to achieve this one. What projects how do you invest in, all the 3 projects to highest NPV from the best combination. All right, I give you about, I think 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Okay, try to do that. I mute myself first. Any question you can ask me, okay, directly, no problem. All of you try that out, okay? What you need is all in the screen already, so you no need to refer to the other things, okay? All right. So I hope that all of you can find the answer. But if you can't, it's okay. I will just show you lah, step by step how to do that. Actually, very quick one. It's very simple. Okay, so usually in this kind of questions, actually the first thing you need to calculate the NPV first lah, for each project. But the way to calculate the NPV is very, very simple. So I don't think I need to show you how to calculate this figure. Okay, you can refer to the formal answer later. Okay, once you have the NPV, you have the initial cost, and definitely you have the present value of all the cash inflows, because all the cash inflow minus the initial cost is the NPV. So first thing, if like what I said, as long as if the projects that are divisible, then the first thing you need to do so very simple, the PI how to calculate, we will be using the present value of all the cash inflow, 332740 divided by 300,000. Okay, it's 1.11 lah, about 1.11. While this one will be 507585 divided by 450000. It is 1.128 lah. Okay, while this one will be 477791 divided by 400,000. It is 1.194, about that. Okay, so once we have calculated the PI, like what I said, if they are divisibles, what we do very simple. We follow the PI only. Whichever is the highest one, we will go with that one first. So we have 800,000, right? So definitely the highest one is this one, 1.19, most profitable in terms of percentage. So we invest this one first. So which means it will equal to, we will invest 400,000 in this project. Okay, we invest the whole project, we take the whole NPV plus, and now we still have 400,000, right? Because we have already spent for project 3. And then we still have 400,000, we will go for the second best one based on PI. So it's project 2. All right, so project 2, the cost is 450,000, but we only left 400,000. But it's okay, I must say it's divisible. So we will just spend the 40,000 to invest into this investment. 400,000. But we cannot pick up the whole NPV because the whole NPV you need 450,000. So it's basically proportionally is 400,000 out of 450,000. Okay, times this NPV. And we will be able to get this answer. All right, so your decision making, it will be project 3 plus you can say it's actually this one, in terms of ratio, I think it's 8 out of 9. So it's 8 out of 9 of project 2. Okay, so this is your answer that will lead to the highest NPV. And follow 1 minute for that. Okay, so after that, for the A2, this one is if they are indivisible, none of the projects is divisible. Okay, so it means that it's indivisible. So it's, if indivisible, like what I said, we will list out all the and 2, no problem. It's either 1 plus 2. Later we calculate the NPV. I actually can calculate right now. 1 plus 2 NPV is 32740 plus 57585. So it's 90325. Right? Nothing wrong. And 23 cannot. 23. Because 23 you see it exceeds 800,000 if you invest 2 and 3, so it's impossible. But we still have another combination is 1-3 lah, 1-3 boleh mah. Because 1-3 only 700,000 we can invest. So it's or 1 and 3 lah. 1 and 3 will be 77791 plus 32740. So it's 110531. So that's how you get the answer. So in this case, we only have 2 combinations, very simple. So after you have listed out all the combinations, then we go for the highest one. So the highest one is 1 plus 3 lah. So the result, your answer will be indivisible. Okay, can follow up. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Actually, pretty simple, capital rationing. Just one additional information you need to make. Okay, just remember if there are divisibles, you follow PI. If there are indivisible, you need to list out all the possible combinations and see which one, when you combine, it will give you the highest NPV one. Okay. So for the NPV, I don't think I need to show you. Trust me, the calculation is extremely simple for the NPV. Okay, for all the 3 projects. So I think if you have the answer, you understand how to do that. Very, very simple. Okay. Appraisal method is applied in a situation where the capital is rationed. This one actually just asking you when you need to perform capital rationing, will be how do you do that? Okay, why do you need to do that in NPV investment appraisal? So how do you do that, or explain how do you do that? Actually, it's very simple. So you can explain that capital rationing is when you have limited capital, but you have a lot of positive projects which you cannot invest all of them. All right, so you can say if the projects are divisibles, okay, so we will calculate the profitability index and then we rank them according to the profitability index and invest accordingly. All right, while if they are not divisible, then we will list out all the combinations of the projects and then select the best combination that gives us the highest NPV. That's basically the answer. How do you do that? Just ask you to explain only. Okay, and discuss why the capital rationing may arise. This one, why do we need to perform capital rationing? Why do we have a limited capital? Okay, we have 2 general reasons, which is soft and hard capital rationing. Soft capital rationing, the limited capital is because of your internal factors. Internal factors you can think like is because your company or the management of your company, it does not want to raise funds. It wants to limit itself with the funds to be invested. Okay, so this one is not caused by any external factors. It means that you can think like that. Soft capital rationing is not because of you cannot borrow money or you cannot issue share to get more money. It's that you yourself, you don't want to do that. Why? It could be because of like all these reasons. Why? Maybe because you don't want to issue share because of you are scared of dilution of power. You issue share, you invite all the new shareholders, so your power will be diluted. Okay. To share with the new shareholders, so you don't want to issue share to get new funds. That's why your fund is limited, okay? Or you don't want to borrow money because you don't want to pay the interest payments. This one is you yourself, or to be more appropriate, is the company itself. It does not want to do so. It's not saying that you cannot borrow. You are eligible to borrow money. It's just that you don't want to do that. Okay, due to you don't want to pay more interest, all these things. All right, or the management, you see, or the management like board of directors of your company saying that this year we only invest from our retained earnings. We don't want to raise new funds. Okay, so like if our retained earnings we have 800,000, so our capital is 800,000. That's the maximum you can invest. So this one is capital rationing. So it's soft capital rationing. Why do you have capital rationing? It's because your management wants to limit that. Okay, it does not want to invest too much maybe. We call that soft capital rationing. While factors lah, you cannot your capital is limited due to external factors, including financial crisis. So your share price is extremely low. So when your share price is extremely low, it's not ideal for you to issue new shares. The reason very simple, because you see, if in a normal economy situations, your share price 5 ringgit. So if you issue new share like right issue, even though at a discount, one share you can get 4.9 maybe at a discount issue new share, get one share 4.9. But when in a financial crisis, sometimes your share price drop until maybe 2 ringgit, from 5 drops to 2. Do you want to issue new share to raise fund? If you issue new share like right issue, the benchmark is 2 ringgit market price, and then you give discount, it means that one share you get only 1.9. You ask yourself, if you are the owners, I don't think you want to issue share if you still have a choice. So that's the reason why if it's due to like at that time your price is depressed due to you don't want to issue share due to that external factors, financial crisis, share price too low right now, is not ideal, not worth to issue new share. The money you can collect is too low, because now one share only 2 ringgit, right issue discount 1.9 maybe. You get if you issue one new share. So it's not worth to do so due to the external factors, financial crisis. So that one is hard capital rationing. Or due to government control, like its monetary policy, it wants to reduce money supply, so instruct B&M, telling them that don't lend the money so easy. So they will be very stringent when it comes to like lending the money. So it's very hard for you to borrow money in that situation, credit crunch. So that's why it's also one of the reasons you have limited capital, because you're unable to borrow. Or you want to borrow but rejected by the banks due to highly good all these things. You want to borrow one but rejected by them. So also external factor. Or sometimes the issuing cost is too expensive. So all of these will be hard capital rationing. All right. And then the last question. The last question is asking you relevant cash flow. It comes to the first chapter talking about capital budgeting. That's the last question actually in capital budgeting topics. All right. So this one is just that I want to remind you all. Okay. Relevant cash flow. Remember, very important. The 4 relevant cash flow. It must be cash flow. It must be future cash flow. It must be incremental. And it must be opportunity cash flow. So all of them are relevant cash flows, because NPV is a discounted cash flow method. So it's based on cash flow, but not all cash flow will be included in the calculation. Remember that. All right. Those not relevant cash flows like committed sunk costs, ignore them. Okay. So I think that's all for the tutorial today. But so you see, in this NPV, we have 4 chapters now. If you remember the first chapter, we talk about capital budgeting methods, IRR, NPV, payback period, ARR. Okay. And in the first chapter, we also talk about relevant cash flows. Very important. In the future, definitely you need to apply the concept of relevant cash flow. Incremental cash flow, future cash flow, you must be very good at that. Okay, that's the first chapter. Second chapter, if you remember, we talk about consistency, inflation and taxation. So remember just now, if we are using nominal cash flow, means that includes the inflation inside one, the share price increasing due to inflation. If you are using nominal cash flow discounted by nominal rate, if you are using after tax cash flow discounted by after tax rate. So second chapter basically is talking about consistency, I would say. Even the topic is inflation and taxation, but you need to know is when it comes to calculation, consistency. Last week, that one is talking about risk measurement. Because like what I said, in your NPV, actually there are risk and uncertainties one, because all of them are future cash flows. So if you remember, we can apply sensitivity analysis, probability analysis, simulations, Monte Carlo simulation, and then like the certainty equivalent approach. And what else? There are a few more methods, risk measurement methods to measure the risk of your MPV. Okay, and then the last chapter, this one is the project, is the specific investment decision. So the last chapter is what we discussed just now. We still have some additional decisions need to make in MPV. So I would say that actually in this FM, financial management, just for capital budgeting is already quite comprehensive. It covers most of the things already. Even when you go to higher level, if you still remember what you have learned in these 4 chapters, I think it's quite enough. Not much new things for capital budgeting only. But for higher level one, capital budgeting, I think that one will cover a lot new things when you come to the higher level final year. Okay? And also, until today, this week is week 13 already, isn't it? Week 13 already, week 13. Okay? So until week 13, we have covered 12 chapters. If you remember, again, we have already covered the 3 key financial activities. From financing, we learned about sources of finance, all these things. And then from the sources of finance, we have the cost of capital, if you remember, WACC. Whenever you raise fund, you have a cost. All right? And then we learn about investing activities like this one, mainly on capital budgeting methods. How to evaluate the investment. Is it a good project or bad project? And we also talk about the dividend policy. What kind of dividend policy and some theories on there. Okay, I hope that until today. So next week, actually, we talk about risk management. The last 2 weeks, okay, the coming lecture, risk management. Okay, so now I hope that you all have an idea on how they are. Actually, they are all interrelated if you see the things. Like from financing, you are doing business, how you raise the fund from sources of finance, and from there you have the WACC, and WACC later it becomes the discount rate when come back to the MPV, because they are interrelated one. When before you invest, like what I said, you must consider your cost from your sources of finance, from your financing activities, because what money you spend in the company, it is carrying a cost one, like borrowing cost. So if you be your cost of capital, it is the discount rate to be applied in your MPV, if you see that. So if in the investment decision you earn money, the money earned, you need to distribute them back to your shareholders as dividend, or you need to retain them, okay, for reinvestment. That one is financing, back to financing. So they are interrelated, these 3 key financial activities. All right, I hope that you something that you have learned in this financial management. Okay, so I think that's all for today. Any question you want to ask me before we end the class? Okay, if you have no question, then I will see you all. So for the public holiday, up to you. Actually, I also don't want to force you to come. Okay, so if you want to enjoy yourself, you enjoy yourself. Okay, because at the end, the video will be recorded. Just that I will still continue on Thursday for the class. Not going anyway. Okay, then okay then I will see you in the lecture class. Bye bye.